Good afternoon, students. This is Professor Estrada with your Week 4 audio, visual, video lecture. I'm already on the homepage of Brightspace. I don't know why my screen or my phone is blurry right now. Very strange, but I just want to make sure that, there it is. I just want to make sure that you guys are able to see this. This is the homepage for our course. Going in on the homepage, left side will always have reminders, recaps, and if you are watching this on November 8th, you will know that we don't technically start our week 4 class until November 10th, but I did open it up a little bit earlier so that way everyone can see it. And those that like to work ahead, excuse me. So we have on the left side, reminders, recaps, anything that you need for the week that will tell you what is a graded assignment, what's coming up is extremely helpful and it can be found right here. On the right side tab, I have my contact info. Feel free to always look at that. If you are going to email me, please make sure to email me using this website of mine and using your Outlook, my student email at Hill College, or through the Brightspace email. You can use it with that and go right here. If it's through Brightspace, I automatically will see it. And then right here, I wanted to point out real quick that while you have this work to do little chart with due dates, it also has a calendar. Please disregard these if you have to. They're just really helpful, but they usually tend to follow the date that it's due or the 4 extra days that you can turn in stuff late. So as a review, I open up the folder or the week a little bit earlier, but our calendar dates are usually a Monday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning till about Sunday night at 11:59. That's what the content for that week will be. It could be anything within minor assignments or actual major assignments. However, some essays are usually due on a different due date. Always refer to the syllabus or the instructions for their due dates. But these are intended and they usually have the last possible day before it closes. So always refer to the folder itself for that assignment's due date and or the syllabus. These are really helpful, but without knowing any context, you're just going in blindly and it's not giving you why we have those specifics. So let's go into the folder. This is your go-to. Make sure to click on that. And within the folder, we have on the left side all of our modules and how we will find those. So we're now in the week 4, part 1 folder. This is what's in the week 4, part 1 folder. We have our lecture slides. We have a few stories. If I have it as a text, I include the audio if I can find it. So within the week 4, part 1 folder, we have the Gift of the Magi, text and audio. The Lottery, which is not about winning the lottery, by Shirley Jackson, text and audio, and Harrison Bergeron by Kurt Vonnegut, text and audio. I also have right here, discussion board number 6, Irony Moral, which is what the lecture slides are about. I have a quiz 4, only reviewing these stories and taking a quiz over it. And if you need the word count link, just to be helpful and mindful, the word count link is here for your discussion board. I also included within this folder the following resources. The JSTOR database link, extremely helpful in finding sources. The Hill College database link, the go-to for the Hill College database collection, and the Purdue OWL formatting link. The Purdue OWL is just an extremely helpful resource that once you go to it, it has an exploration of why MLA is used, why it's needed, but in a sense, how to cite things if you need that. And then the week 4 Day 1 folder has a due date, so it will open up November, just as we have it, November 10th, and it will run through November 10th through November 16th at 11:59. Go ahead and click on this. Okay, so in the week 4 Day 1 folder, go ahead and click on the lecture slides. They should pop up. Taking its sweet time. Here are your lecture slides for week 4, part 1. It tells you our objectives for the week, part 1, day 1, however you would like to say, and our mini lecture on Irony Moral. This is a recap of last week or last week's folder, and then the content that you will find just as it's listed in the week 4, part 1. I do have to use my mouse to scroll down. So within this folder, you'll have the Gift of the Magi, text and audio, the Lottery, text and audio, Harrison Bergeron, and the discussion board, Irony Moral. And quiz 4 tells you its due date. and also the continued resources of a word count link if you need it for your discussion board, the JSTOR database link, the Hill College database link, and the Purdue OWL formatting link. So as you are continuously working on your essay number 2, which is a beautiful essay on critical analysis, you're going to be finding a source that discusses your story and elements that are developed in it. We continue on with those resources found in the week 4 part 1 folder. Okay, and so let's go in. Let me go into my lecture slides once more. And I'm going to scoot back a little bit so that you can see that. All right. So this is our continuation lecture over literary terms. So we continued way back in the week 1 folder with plot and exposition, and we've explored some of those literary elements since then. And the biggest question that we have to ask ourselves, even from week 1 till about week 4, which is now, is what elements are going to make a good story? And why are these elements significant? So we have, and continuously, with the stories that are intended for this part. And one of those literary elements is irony. And what is irony? Irony is a contradiction between what happens and what you expect to happen. It's often used to add suspense and interest. It also keeps the reader thinking of the moral of the story. It's often a surprise. What we think will happen and what actually happens, and it's like, oh my gosh, I did not see that coming. Irony in stories is found 3 different ways. Verbal irony occurs when someone says one thing but means the opposite. Situational irony occurs when an event is not just surprising but actually contrary to what we expected. And dramatic irony occurs when the audience or the reader knows something important that we do not know. Irony in short, as seen in short stories. The text for this week display heavy usage of irony. And as readers, we are often asked to determine why they're evident and, again, significant. We have irony, and then we have the moral in a story. So what is the moral of a story? The moral is the overall lesson that can be taken from the story, usually found in what happens to the main characters. It is general enough to relate to everyone, not just specific people. And what's the difference between theme and moral? Theme is a central idea, but the moral is the message or the lesson or what the author wants the readers to get from the story. So while they could be the same thing, we have to look at their differences as they're instructed. And this is simply our lecture slides. So as you review these lecture slides, please take your time in reading the stories for the week 4 part 1 folder. The Gift of the Magi. When it decides to download, you're going to have to go and click on the link. At any point, if these links do not work, please let me know. It's audio if you prefer the audio. The Lottery. You have to click on the link. The audio for it and the text, and then Harrison Bergeron as a text and the audio. So let's go into the discussion board number 6 and let's look at the instructions for it. It simply just says that after you're reading those 3 stories, I would like you to answer the following questions. Some of the questions may refer to all the text, specific stories, or 1 or 2 together. And if they tell you specifically sentences or an actual word count, that's what that's for. Usually your entire post will be 1, and then your replies to others will be other ones. Okay. And then if you need to have reminders on how to compliment people, they're right here. And then this is the due date. Okay. And then just as a reminder to click on one of the discussion boards, one of these blue buttons to let you know how to go in. We have a quiz 4. So after you read those 3 stories, I would like you to take this quiz. And in true quiz discussion attempts, I take the highest grade. But if it is a multiple choice or true or false, it's automatically calculated in the computer settings. However, any manual responses, you have to wait for me to go back in so that your grade can go higher. This is the word count link. Simply a helpful resource to count your words if you need it. You can see that. It'll eventually count the words. and the JSTOR database link if you need to use the JSTOR database link, Hill College library database, but also the Purdue OWL. I wanted to open up the Purdue OWL website real quick so that way you get a sense of why it's important to your essay number 2. Purdue OWL has an extensive amount of information that can show you why things are cited the way they are, how specifically those things are cited, and how they look like in regards to an essay. So you can look at anything from books, periodicals, electronic web sources, how they look like, and how a works cited page will actually look like. Okay. And so we take a break and we go into the week 4 part 2 folder. We have Following These Stories, The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant, Text and Audio, Young Goodman Brown by Nathaniel Hawthorne, the text and audio, The Story of an Hour, who also wrote The Storm, Kay Chopin, text and audio. And note that there are no weekly lecture slides for this specific day, so there's no lecture slides to touch base on first. However, I'm also going to include within this folder the week 5 day 1 short story, A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings, text and audio by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. There's no online submission to work on either. Yay! But then, an important note, Essay 2 will be due no later than Wednesday, November 19th. I do give you a couple of days at the latest to turn it in with points deducted, but this essay will require works cited page. Failure to not have a works cited page within this essay will result in a 0. This is an essay submission that you will find in the week 5 part 1 folder. You have to turn it into the week 5 module for me to receive or look at it as a grade. If you have any questions regarding week 4 part 1 or week 4 part 2 at any point, part 1, part 2, or anything on how to submit something, or you just need to recap, feel free to reach out. I can always rearrange my schedule so that if you need a video conference or if you just want something extended or more elaborated within an email, feel free to reach out. I am here to help you succeed, as I always put it in my announcements, but my announcements are always there for that reason, so that you can recap what we did during the week, what's expected as a graded assignment, or anything involving what's going to happen within the course. Even within here, I do want to mention that you might even find some surprising extra credit opportunities not found within the folder, but they're found within the emails themselves. If you have any questions, let me know. And here's to a great week 4.